the microphones or something. I mean, it's
All
kind of
right,
fun.
let's see what we're going to do. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah.
We are professional now.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the 661 Club Show. Tonight, we're going to have a discussion about current events. And if you like, you can send us some email or your hate mail at the661club@gmail.com.
Yeah.
All right.
Tom is going to be the main star of the show tonight because I'm pretty tired, but I'll be a dutiful sidekick.
What are you, an old man? I'm tired on a Sunday night.
Matter of fact, pretty much, yes.
Okay, fair enough. And, okay, so let's talk about some of the things that were going on in the news. Let's shut that guy off. And
so did you hear about the latest about Britney Spears?
I did not. What's going on with Britney?
I didn't either, so let's not talk about her.
Except that she might be crazy.
Yes. I heard she was beating her children again with her bald head.
Okay, I think that was a while ago.
Yeah.
Okay, so...
Oh, really?
So I don't know if you heard on the news. And by the way, if some of these facts that, because a lot of us don't have a lot of time to flesh out the stories and stuff. So
that's why we're here.
That's right. If we get some of the facts wrong, just send us some hate mail and let us know that we're doing it. So
you could hate us as well as we hate us.
Exactly. So so we had that situation with the guy who over the weekend, I guess the story was there was an off-duty sheriff who was driving down the road and
a 70-year-old
and swerved off the road to avoid some. This is what I heard.
Okay.
To avoid some dogs, and some guy who was a known felon, came back and rear-ended him, and then I guess they got out. I'm assuming they were, the off-duty sheriff's officer was going to try to, handle the situation.
Shoot the guy. Yeah. I heard there was a verbal altercation. So,
oh, really?
Yeah.
Involving...
The two of them argued, and at one point the off-duty sheriff did walk away, but the other guy yelled at him or something, so he went back and got back into it a little bit with him, and then the suspect, the alleged killer, whacked him in the face and killed him.
Well, I don't necessarily. I think it's okay to say he's a killer at this point. I don't think that's in refute.
Yeah. Okay.
So what do you think about that? What do you think should happen to that guy?
Geez. Well, I imagine he's probably around 30 or so. You hit a 70-year-old, you got to know, and you're going to possibly kill him.
They're basically glass, is what you're trying to say.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Well, yeah, so, there is some truth to that. Bones get more brittle and soft tissue.
Yeah.
But you shouldn't be hitting anybody anyway. But
no, right. I mean, you don't hit an old guy. That's why old guys can go around being mouthy as hell, because they know that you're supposed to F with them.
Wait a minute. What demarcation point? Wait, is this a club that you
60,
belong to?
Around 60.
Oh, okay.
I'm almost there.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you're almost there. A couple more weeks.
Yeah.
And then what? You can go and stand
You
in
show
line.
them your colostomy bag and say, "You can't hit me. I'll spill this colostomy bag all over you."
You'll be in a restaurant and you have the right to say, "Ma'am, I have an expired coupon from 8 years ago, and it says here in writing because that's the law, and I deserve to have buy one get one free of lesser value."
Yes, and you're able to pat them on the rear end with immunity. What's the joke that Bush told?
Oh, wait a minute, you can't do that. No, you can't do that anymore. You can't even think.
Well, Bush
you can't even
did
think
it.
that anymore.
My hero, Bush, HW, whatever, HW, he did it. Got away with it. People gave him crap for a little bit, but with all the fun he had, it had to be worth it.
Wait, what are we talking about here? I've never heard this.
HW in his wheelchair, he was grabbing ass. You didn't hear about that?
No.
Here's the joke. He goes, he'd say to a cute young lady, "Did you hear something about?" Okay, here's my joke.
I'd like to read your lips.
I'm messing it up, but basically the joke is David cop a feel instead of David cop. Oh, my favorite. Who's my favorite?
Why does that sound like something
Who's my
George
favorite magician?
George Bush would say as a joke?
Who's my favorite magician? David Copperfield instead of Copperfield, and then he would grab their ass. And
Hey
he's just a cute
there,
old
young thing, come on over here. sit on my lap.
Yeah.
I like to David. That's creepy as hell, man.
Yeah, it is.
That is creepy as hell.
But he's 92, so it's okay. He
It's not
didn't know any
okay.
better. He didn't know any better.
Okay, let me ask you a question. This often comes up, and you've probably seen this. Let's say, for example, you and your kid, maybe your kid's about, I don't know, 8 or 9. Doesn't really matter the age, right?
Okay.
And you're at the grocery store and like you're in the parking lot or whatever, and maybe your kid was dressed up real cute or something like that. Maybe came back from a school play or something. And an old guy comes up and, oh, well, aren't you just the cutest thing? Let me pinch you on the cheek, young lady. Hi there, honey. And you know what I mean? I mean, this isn't... I suppose in Mayberry, the city of Mayberry, that would be acceptable.
Mayberry. If everything was black and white and set in the early 60s, then yeah, it'd be totally cool. But if an old guy did that to one of my kids now, I would wheel his chair out into traffic or something.
I think the unspoken rule is don't touch anybody else's kid. Don't even talk to. Don't even look at them.
Anymore.
They're invisible.
Anymore, you're afraid to be nice to little kids because the parents might think he's trying to lure my kid into his den of iniquity. So, if you're saying something nice to a little girl because it's little kids are cute.
Well, the fact that you have a big ass van that says free candy on the side, Mark.
What? I get so much crap for that. I know. I bought it that way.
Speaking
I didn't
of
put
which,
that
have you
sign
seen
on there.
Have you seen an ice cream man at all?
Or by my house, yeah.
I mean, when I was a kid, that was you hear the ding ding ding.
Actually, they never come in my area. They're going to the neighborhood a couple blocks over. So I don't know if they're afraid to come on my area or because the parents will lynch them. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's like the creep mobile. Like, oh, here comes that freakazoid that likes kids.
Yeah.
Why are you selling ice cream? Why didn't you could have had another career choice? Why ice cream?
There's a show on lately, like Mr. Mercedes on Showtime or HBO or something like that. Yeah. And the guy had an ice cream van, but he wasn't a pervert with kids.
Sure,
but he was having sex with his mother. His mother and him were having sex. Okay. That show was pretty messed up.
Well, you've managed to link sex and ice cream trucks together pretty well. So
and
I have a feeling
the mom was kind of good looking. Well, did you ever see the movie Roadhouse with Patrick Swayze? Mm-hmm. The mom was the hot blonde in that movie. But that was quite a while back. She's a little less hot now, pretty bony, look kind of like a meth addict or something. And she played...
Where's she from? Where's she live?
Methville, as far as I know.
Okay.
Where she live?
Yeah.
I'll hook you up if I can figure that out.
I thought this was a story about someone living in Saugus.
Saugus. Good. Let's move from Canyon Country to Saugus. Let's make Saugus the ghetto of Santa Clarita Valley. I'm fine with that. So, okay. Back to the undercover, not undercover, but off-duty sheriff, deputy.
Undercover.
No, he wasn't a sheriff.
Shouldn't laugh.
He was a
It's
deputy
horrible.
like Barney. Barney Fife was a deputy.
Oh, what?
Andy. Barney was the deputy. Andy was the sheriff.
Yeah.
Oh, and we shouldn't be making too much
Gay
light
Don
of this.
Knotts.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. Was he gay? I mean, he
come
acted that
on.
way, but
I don't know, Jack. Oh,
I don't know.
With those, what are they, cravats that he wore in Three's Company with the one-piece
He was
jumpsuit?
married in Three's Company to a woman that couldn't stand him.
No. That's the old. You're thinking of Mr. Roper #1.
No, well, Don. Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, Don Knotts was not married. Oh, yeah. Okay, I'm thinking
Don
Roper.
Knotts came after they had a spin-off show of the Ropers that failed, and then I think what's his name? The guy who played Mr. Roper died.
Well, but okay, so Don Knotts was in a show with Ritter, John Ritter, right?
No, he was Mr. Furley in Three's Company, man.
Okay, but you said something about a spin-off.
Yeah, the Ropers. You're thinking he wasn't married. In this one, it was ambiguous.
Oh, okay.
And he was always coming in.
I forget. Okay,
the part for him to play in the comedy was every time there was something that could be interpreted as like sexual innuendo, like Chrissy and Jack would be in the room trying to get the bed sheet on, and you couldn't see them, but Mr. Furley would come in and Christy would be like, "Try and get it on, Jack. Make it flatter, and he'd be so. Anyway.
I haven't watched that show for quite a while, and actually I missed most of the Don Knotts era. So anyway, okay, so Don Knotts got knocked out over the weekend in San Bernardino, was it? No, not knocked out. He was killed.
Did you say Don Knotts?
Yeah.
That's his name?
The undercover sheriff deputy. All right. Okay, that's nonsense. Okay, the off-duty deputy
Okay.
confronted somebody that. The off-duty deputy swerved to avoid dogs in the street,
That's what I heard. Yeah.
and then somebody ran into him.
Yeah.
All right, and then there was an altercation. And was it a minority by any chance? This guy that.
I believe the man is Hispanic. Yeah. But he had a a rap sheet a mile long apparently, and in and out of jail, and gang member or affiliate with gang members.
But no illegal gun on him, as with the Kate Steinle killer.
I did
All right.
not.
Well, then he
read
should be
that.
off scot-free then, because the Kate Steinle killer he has got 3 years total for the crime, but got time served. The judge is going to let him off.
Right. Well, if you look at what the verdict was, I mean, they ruled that it was an accidental discharge.
With a gun at a pier.
Well, I mean,
Jeez.
okay. I was not there to see the evidence presented, but I'm sure they made a compelling argument due to the trajectory, perhaps, or his, maybe it hit the ground first.
He was shooting at the ground or in a crowded parking lot.
Why did he say he took it out?
Well, his story changed, but one reason because he wanted to shoot at a sea lion or something.
What?
Yeah, no, that's true. That's one of the stories. And
How the hell did Rosie O'Donnell get up there?
That's one of her favorite mating spots, I guess. But Rosie is quite popular on that beach, from what I hear.
Yeah.
By big gigantic tusked animals.
That was the joke.
Okay,
So
I did the best I could.
But okay, so in this case, since I wasn't there and I wasn't privy, we're kind of judging the situation from outside of justice, basically. We don't know all the facts and all the evidence and things. So, I would say if it was accidental and they could prove it was accidental beyond a reasonable doubt, then it's negligence, manslaughter, maybe. I would say that would be the maximum.
He didn't even get it for manslaughter, but the problem is he was charged with murder 2, I believe, so manslaughter wasn't even on the table. So they had to find him innocent, basically, of murder 2, because it did seem like an accident. So, but they did find him guilty on the illegal weapons charge. So possibly the prosecutor screwed up by not charging him with manslaughter, or at least having it on the table. I don't know how it works. If you can be charged with manslaughter and murder 2, I don't know. But still, it is a travesty that they were going to let this guy go. But then the feds stepped in and say, no, he ain't going nowhere.
Well, as you're aware, this particular story was utilized by Trump in his campaign in the media.
Yeah.
So it kind of polarized a lot of people, as things are like this are wont to do. How much do you think, in terms of concern, your opinion is based upon, the stuff that was being spun around that story at the time? In other words, if this were anybody else, if it was a citizen, or if it was someone who was non-minority, would you be as angry?
It wouldn't even have been in the news as much, because they made this into a big deal because he had been exported 5 or 6 times already and came back into the country, and then San Francisco refused to hand him over to the feds. The feds wanted him handed over to them, and they refused and let him out.
They're not going to get him. He's ours. This is our sanctuary city.
That is the way you have to speak when you drive up there. So I know that for a fact.
Or at least you have to elevate yourself a little bit. Yeah. Oh, you're from Southern California. Do you even know what wine is?
Yeah. So, and besides everything I've just said, Trump told me that this guy needs to go to jail, big time, prison. So whatever Trump says goes.
Okay.
Right?
Well, the narrative was, here's this illegal alien coming to our country, killing our people, and here's San Francisco protecting him, and nothing's going to happen to him because liberals want to, open up the borders, and he's our poster boy for communism or something of that nature, right? Mm-hmm. It was spun on the basis that he was an illegal immigrant or here illegally.
You can just call him an illegal. It just saves a lot of syllables, vowels, and consonants, that kind of thing. So, Uh,
By the way, the illegal status in this country, is that a felony or a misdemeanor?
must be a misdemeanor. I don't know. I don't think that's a huge. It's apparently not too big of a deal. Some people say it's not a crime at all to commit a crime by coming over here illegally, but. And now before I get called a racist, I have a lot of sympathy for people that come across the border like that because I would do the same thing.
Well,
if I were them. It's a great place to live. And most of them, at least the ones I know, are great, hardworking people. I do know a couple Hispanic people that have been to prison, but they're reformed now.
Okay.
So
well, you could just say easily the same thing about someone else of any ethnicity, I suppose.
Yes, you go to the trailer park and you'll find plenty of white people that have been to prison and may or may not be reformed. But I
think there's an argument to be made there. I'm sorry to interrupt. There's an argument to be made that criminality or those types of behaviors may be driven primarily by financial reasons, with institutional racism perhaps being secondary.
That's an argument. All right.
That's an argument maybe for a different time.
I don't know if I agree. I mean, probably has something to do with it, but I mean, typically the leader of the household, a Hispanic man with a wife and little kids, they run out of money. The biggest thought on his mind is not, I should get a gun and go hold somebody up. His thought is, I got to get a job somehow. For most of them,
right?
Criminals, they think differently. For the longest time, they've been saying that with the illegal aliens, the immigrants, that their criminality is less than with American citizens. But studies just came out to prove that that's not true, that it's way higher with the immigrant Hispanics than with...
I don't know if I don't know what to believe today about studies. I mean, because there's so much disinformation out there. You could have an organization that their primary job is to spin the news or spin the research in the direction of the people who are paying for that research. And sometimes you have flat out, flubbing of the numbers, or sometimes you have a not thorough or choosing the correct people to do the scientific investigation, or it's not done right. That's why there's peer review. And we all know that the peer review system in this world is just broken because not enough scientists have the time. And there are companies that actually do peer review you pay them.
Yeah.
And whether or not your paper is actually going to be written or read and the experiment performed, which is the way it's supposed to be, is dubious at best. They may just give a rubber stamp, and so you have a lot of peer review mail. So I'd have to see the data. It's one of those things that, like, who has the time now? We just accept a lot of these things on facts. Anyway, sorry for that.
You listen to CNN and they have their facts. Listen to Fox and they have their facts.
Right.
And who knows what's real?
Mm-hmm.
So I get what you're saying. The rubber stamp thing. Okay, peer review thing. We need your rubber stamp. So, I trust you. I'll give you my stamp of approval. So.
Or they just, like the small blogs and publications that are online. It's in their best interest to their story, if they want to make a point that's sensational, that will actually drive clicks and traffic to their website, they sometimes make it up.
Bunch of hoes.
You won't,
anything for
look
money.
What Donald Trump did. You won't believe what he's done next. I mean, and this book is kind of being marketed that same way.
Yes.
People who are against Trump are going to love the book because, this is a vindication of everything that I've said, and there's going to be a lot of that. I told you guys 6 months ago this was going to happen. This was happening. I'm Charles Vignola, and I have a crystal ball. I can see these things. He's the devil. See? It says here in black and white. And then the people who love Trump would be like, God damn it, what did he do? Let me see this. Nope, fake.
And if the conservatives were being honest,
right,
they would admit that we've all known that Trump is like this, but we knew before the election, so this isn't a big deal. If this stuff that we did not know before the election, then they would have a point for maybe he shouldn't be in office. But everybody knew that this is exactly Trump. This is no surprise at all.
Question for you: Do you think too much is being made about the personality of Trump rather than what's going on around him?
Well, yes, but people can't help but make a big deal about his personality and his tweets. So I understand that. But what is really important are his policies. And they talk about nuclear war, like that peon over in North Korea is going to take us on. He's not going to take us on. He acts crazy. It's a facade. He's not really crazy. He's not really stupid. He's not gonna try to send a nuclear missile over here. We would flatten the whole.
Have you seen his haircut?
Sorry,
tell me,
you're right.
A crazy man. That is a crazy man's haircut.
And he's got a
Looks
list.
like
There's a list of
licorice
all the
piece.
haircuts you could have over there, and he broke the rule and had his own separate haircut.
He had
not on
Dennis
the list.
Rodman to give him fashion advice, and yet he went with that shit. It looks like freaking
I
piece
know,
of
and
chocolate
Dennis was
cake
like-
on his head.
And Dennis is kind of a genius at that kind of thing.
I see Kim Jong Un sporting all these tattoos and shit.
Blonde hair, bleached
Nose
blonde,
ring.
creamy hair. Yeah, there you go. Face tattoos. Jeez, maybe I'll have his lips fluffed. So,
Is that a thing now?
well, with chicks, but I mean, if he wants to look like Dennis Rodman, yeah, you know,
How does one fluff their? What does that entail? Would they inject you or
take
something?
fat out of your ass and stick it in your lips.
Oh,
There may
Literally?
be also a silicone thing too, but I do believe that they take fat out of hips or whatever and put it into your lips, but it only lasts for a while. And so I suppose that if you do not want to look like some kind of a fat injection addict, that they make
I
the
don't want to
injections
kiss
on
a
the
girl
inside
whose
of your
lips were on her butt at one time. Well, it depends on how good she looking
Oh
she
no,
is. Right?
Jessica Alba.
Yeah.
I would do that no matter what. We were talking about Jessica Alba as being racially ambiguous earlier.
I think my words were, "What the fuck is she?"
Puerto Rican, Mexican, whatever. I don't even care what she is. I don't care.
She's out of the game now. I heard. I was reading some
yes,
article.
yes. I'm still stuck in 2006.
Well, she didn't really have a lot of breakout roles. I mean, she did Sin City, which I think is the most memorable one, and she had Angel. I think that TV series we were talking about earlier. But Fantastic Four?
Oh, I was just going to say Fantastic Four.
No.
She was fantastic in that.
They have not been able to reboot that thing properly. I think they've tried 3 times now. That's just not going to
Yes.
work.
I thought that the 2000 versions were not bad. I enjoyed them because at one point Jessica needed to turn invisible, but you could still see her clothes. And then, so she had to take her clothes off, and then her invisibility was fluctuating, so she was starting to become visible again, but she was naked. And I thought it was a pretty good act. It was a pretty good role. I mean, I was proud of her. But Academy Awards, nothing.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. So you're saying B movie list at best?
in a bikini.
Bikini.
That movie Into the Blue, I think it was, with Paul Walker, where she's swimming around like a fish in the it wasn't a thong bikini, but it was quite revealing. I did a lot of stop and slow motion and pause and stuff with that. My wife at the time, she didn't like it, so I don't know.
Your wife sounds to be like the person like you're watching Linda Carter and Wonder Woman, and she'd be like, "What are you doing, you perverted old fart? Turn that off."
Linda Carter. I never really got into her. She was
a babe back in the day.
I think she seemed too physically large. Like I don't know if she's really tall, but she looked really tall in that part, and she looked. I
believe she
like
was-
tall wowomen.
I believe she was in the 6-foot range. Yeah.
Yeah, I think she was. She just looked like a big gal, and I was more into like the Charlie's Angels, like I can't. Cheryl Ladd, is that her name? I thought she was a doll, and Farrah. Farrah was beautiful. All of them. Oh, what's her name?
Jacqueline Smith.
Yes, the brunette. So
The brunette.
yeah, they had to have a brunette. They had to be racially inclusive.
Racially, what are you talking about?
Well, I mean, brunettes are so different than blondes that they're almost a different race, basically.
Alrighty.
Right? What you go to Scandinavia, you put a brunette in the middle, and they're like, "What the f is this?"
What the hell? No, I can't do. Yeah, Yumpin' Yemeni.
Yeah, right.
Lutefisk. All right.
Okay.
I have to work on my Swedish accent. Bajorga
you really need
Begierber.
to. Yeah.
All right. Not sounds too like that Muppet guy. All right. So moving on. So different topic. What else happened this week?
Okay, we've covered the book. We've covered Barney Fife in San Bernardino, wherever it is.
Lady, how do I get this pickle out of my ass?
We make light of everything, but we actually do take these things seriously. And this thing where the off-duty deputy was killed we take very seriously,
Yeah.
make jokes about it. But that guy's a piece of crap that hit this guy. He just hit him one time and killed him. He knows he has a good punch. This isn't some lucky thing.
Well,
you know?
I suspect he's going to go to jail for the rest of his life.
Yeah.
And did you hear the press conference of the DA for San Bernardino?
No.
He used profanity on the.
Oh.
He's like, we're gonna pursue this, and this guy is never gonna see the daylight again.
Great.
And I should have brought
Guy
that.
shouldn't be on the streets anyway. Like I haven't followed the story that much, but you said he'd already been released for other crimes. He was released early, right, for other crimes?
Yeah.
Okay, because of that whatever bill that freaking Governor Brownbag signed. That's what they call him in Mexico, I guess, Brownbag.
Really? Why?
Yeah. I don't know. I heard that on KFI a couple days ago.
Mayor Moonbeam.
The Mexicans call him Brownbag.
Okay. What else? Uh-oh. Something happened here.
I don't know. We lost something. Data limit
Continue.
reached. Oh,
All right. No echo?
I've got echo.
You got echo?
Yeah, maybe you should turn it off and that was a pretty good segment. As segments go, I mean, compared to
synchronization.
tapeworms have pretty good segments also.
Yeah, the synchronization on the PreSonus crapped out. All right. Hey, everybody, and thanks for tuning in. Sorry, we had some technical difficulties there. Glad you could join us for the show. We're going to get definitely better at this as we go along. And Mark, why don't you take us out?
Oh, okay. Let me get my AR-15 and I'll take us out. Hold on. Wait, you just fade out in the meantime. That is catchy. I like that music.
Yeah.
Who couldn't like this? That's Tom improvising. Hell yeah.
And we're out.
Bye-bye. And you just had to one-up me. Thanks.